Everyone for being here today. Thank you for standing. I have the national anthem and pledge of allegiance.
Please join me. Oh, say can you sleep by the early fire? What's the cloudy green there? That is why on flashing there's such a bright star in the whole of the sky. Oh, the ground of sweet waters, where surrounding is free, and the rock is spread land. Oh, you're singing, they through the night, and run up to there. Oh, say, birds are singing, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For invitation to be brought to us by both our
Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for the many blessings that you give us each day. We're so thankful that we can be a part of an organization that believes in its motto of service above self, and mostly that we can be a blessing to other people. There are so many people that need our help every day. We need to have our eyes open and our ears open to be able to watch for any time that we can help another person. Heavenly Father, we pray that you'll bless our soldiers, that you'll bless our soldiers today. We pray that you will keep them safe. Most of us know someone probably who has a relative there, and it's such a sad thing to hear them tell about it. Heavenly Father, bless the people of our citizens who are there, but also bless the people of other countries. We thank you for this food today. We will use it for the nourishment of our bodies, and we hope that our bodies will be used to thy service. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
thank you, bud. Family and brother, cheers up.
Thank you, President Allen. I hope everybody's having a great Monday. You can't complain about the weather, for sure. Just kind of an update. Our fellow Rotarian, John Watson, Wayne Farmer was nice enough to give us an update. John is in rehab, and please, everybody, continue with prayers that he be comfortable, feel good, and maybe we'll see him back real soon. And that's an update on John Watson. Celebrating birthdays, Morgan Ingram on tax day, April 15th, and Robert Ferguson on April the 17th. And we have a couple of anniversaries. So Larry Williams and Sharon, April the 16th, and Stephanie Crow and Kevin on April the 18th. Hope you all have a great week. And let me remind you, we've got a program coming up in the next week or so, Camp Aska. And I know many of y'all know about Camp Aska. It's a special camp for those youth adults. But this club has a long and storied history with Camp Aska. You'll learn more about that when the program comes up. But that's something that we need to think about, and I hope you all will be enlightened to that, especially new members that join the club that may not know the importance and the impetus, and believe it or not, the nationwide credibility that camp has. It's very important to citizens of the state of Alabama, but it should be near and dear our club as well. So that's coming up soon. Thank you all. Have a great week.
We're happy to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians today. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all visitors are recognized. It'll be easy list today because there's only one. Joe Martin, and he is a guest of Michael Maddox. Thank you for being here today, Joe.
Today we have 1,554 points. Our number today is 258. Winning number is 258. Come on.
Yeah, thanks,
Step right on. 20 diamonds. We'll try again next week. Thank you, Marcia. Just a few announcements. I just wanted to follow up and announce officially our slate of officers 2026-27. As I call your name, if you're here, please stand. Our president will be John Brown. President-elect Jason Rudd. Vice President Davis Flowers. Past President, of course, be myself. Treasurer Robert Ferguson. And our at-large members will be Stephanie Walker, Michael Maddox, Marcus Cannon, Lawrence Johnson, Jenny Logan, Troy Fountain, Will Golson. Will be representing the Outlaw Club. Wes Grant. Thank you, every one of you, for dedicating your time to serve our club. Thank you. Now we have one of our biggest honors that I have. I would like to introduce Stephanie Pompeo as a new member. John, Stephanie, if you will, please come forward.
It's always a pleasure to induct new members to the club, and Stephanie, we welcome you to the club today. Just wanted to say a couple of things. As we introduce you, Margaret was not able to be with us today. I think her mom had an health incident. She wasn't able to be here. But you attend Headland Methodist Church, and you're a graduate of Troy University with a bachelor's degree, master's in business administration. The owners of JR's Fireworks, so look forward to purchasing some things there during July. Is it Syncora? Okay, used to be oncology supply. She's an incentives accountant there. Again, let's welcome her to the club today.
You know, today is a very special day for us. We're bringing a new member to our club. Stephanie has been proposed. The proposal has been reviewed in accordance with our club constitution and bylaws. I now ask Stephanie to come forward, which we have. Stephanie, we now proceed to admit you to the membership of Dothan Rotary Club and to the friendship of Rotary throughout the world. It has already been explained to you that the ideal of Rotary is service. Our principal motto is service above self. And the object of this club and all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal. You have been approved for membership in this club because we believe that you are worthy of as a representation of your vocation. You're interested in the ideals of Rotary and willing to do your share. You have agreed to accept The obligations of membership in this club is to obey the club's constitution and bylaws. Now I have the pleasure of asking John, if you can, present you with a pen in your badge. How about that? Stephanie, I hope you wear that with pride. We're glad to have you here, and I also like to present you with 4 tips. Mr. Rotary's locker. Stephanie, welcome to the Dothan Rotary Club. Now I would like to ask Greg Hayes to come forward for a moment.
Some of you may remember a couple of years ago, I spoke at this club about a trek I had made across Spain. It's called the Camino. It's a 500-mile walk. Sometimes people may think, what in the world is fun about walking 500 miles? Well, it was an amazing experience, and it changed my life. And it was so good that I want to do it again. So Thursday I leave to go back over there. And instead of having my 40-pound suitcase transferred for me every night, I'll be taking everything in a backpack. So that's a little bit different for me this year. Of course, 2 weeks ago, my plantar fasciitis started acting up in my right foot. So I'll go to the doctor for the second time today on that. And then my back started hurting about Thursday of last week. So I go to the doctor right after this. So you guys pray for me that I'll make it through. Bruce McNeil asked if we could put this at a little different level and turn it into a fundraiser that would benefit Kapaska, the Miracle Field, and the Rotary Foundation. And you'll all be receiving an email later this week that talks about that, and it will be asking you to pledge an amount per mile, you know, $100 a mile. You're laughing. 50 cents a mile, 25 cents a mile. And the way I'm feeling right now, that might be a real encouragement to know that, you know, I have to keep going. I'll tell you this, at about 300 miles in, you think about going home pretty regularly. So appreciate you guys participating in this, and we'll be posting some things to Facebook on that, on the Rotary Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Just another reminder, our April board meeting will be immediately following this meeting up the hill. This time I'd like to turn the program over to Ms. Austin.
Thank you, Alan. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and privilege today to have with us Mr. Brad Kimbro, who is the CEO for Wiregrass Electric Cooperative. A little bit about Brad. Mr. Brad joined Wiregrass Electric Cooperative in 2006. He was Director of Member Services from 2006 to 2013. During his tenure, he oversaw communications during the cooperative's conversion to an automated metering system and developed a unique partnership with Habitat for Humanity for weatherization of low-income homes. In 2013, he was promoted to Chief Operating Officer, responsible for the company's marketing, public relations, communications, member service, energy services, compliance, and safety departments, and economic and community development. Mr. Kimbro also successfully pursued Alabama's first pilot project for a community-based energy efficiency program between an electric cooperative and the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs. He led the efforts of establishing and implementing the cooperative charitable foundation known as the Operation Roundup Foundation program. Prior to joining Wiregrass Electric Cooperative, Mr. Kimbro worked for several other cooperatives: Power South Energy Cooperative in Andalusia, Alabama, Baldwin EMC in Summerdale, Alabama, and Peace River Electric Cooperative in Wauchula. I hope I pronounced that right, Wauchula, Florida. And during Mr. Kimbro's 32 years with Electric Cooperative, he has earned numerous certifications, awards, and acknowledgments in management, planning, economic development, communication, and public relations from the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, the Alabama Rural Electric Cooperative Association, and other utility industry organizations. Originally from Brantley, Alabama, he graduated from Troy University in 1991, where he majored in business administration and marketing. So he has a vast knowledge of the electric industry. With everything I just said, he may not have anything else to add. I don't know, but I know he's got a good program for us today, and I know we'll be receptive to hear it.
Thank you. It's certainly just be here. A lot of friends that I see out here in this audience. A lot of good folks. Again, thank y'all for having me. Got a lot to share with you. I'll try to be quick. I got my timer here, so I don't want to be long-winded and be respectful of your time. Just on a side note, Stephanie Pell, y'all have a great lady here that y'all just inducted to this club. Known her now for about 15 years. She's a quality individual. So congratulations, Stephanie, on coming here. You'll enjoy this being a Rotarian for sure. All right. See if I can make this thing work, Stevie. I had the instructions prior to. You see where we are. I'd like to show this. Just kind of, well, James. Well, there we go. It's kind of like our IT guy said when our employees call them, they always secretly say, "Did you turn on the on?" So I didn't do that, James. Anyway, we try to kind of focus, obviously, our organization and try to boil it down to what matters. And so here's what we look at and concentrate on every single day when we come to work. Safety is first. It's it. That is, if we can't do it safely, then we're just not going to do it. And we spend a lot of time, a lot of training efforts on safety for our employees, the community, and certainly the family of our cooperative employees. So we're member-centric. We want to accomplish working safe, but we also want to make sure we understand who we're working for. We're a member-owned cooperative electric utility. We're an at-cost provider. We are not a non-profit, but we are a not-for-profit. In other words, we're an at-cost provider. We don't exist to make a profit or Wall Street or return on investment for some investor. It's basically we're an at-cost provider. And everything we do, we want to be honest, have integrity. We're going to tell you the truth. Sometimes some folks may not like the truth, but at least you know the truth and you can deal with the truth. We want to be affordable, have competitive rates. We think we are accomplishing that. We're probably never going to be the lowest price electric provider because of the ruralness of our service territory. We'll share more about that in a moment. But we certainly want to make sure that we're being very competitive and offering a fair rate. Reliability, we have to keep the lights on. We want to keep the lights on, and doggone, we're going to do all we can to keep the lights on. Community involvement, not us soon. We live here, we work here. What's good for our community is good for Wiregrass Electric, and we hope you feel what's good for Wiregrass Electric will be good for our community as well.
Employee development, we have a very motivated, well-trained employee group. Not many of us, but we want to make sure that they're developing and we keep them trained and informed and motivated. And so we spend a lot of time on that. Economic development, again, growing the community in a positive way. That's good for our cooperative. And then through Stevie's efforts, leading our communication division, we want to make sure that we're communicating and we're sharing things about our cooperative and answering your questions, your thoughts. Mission safety, here's our safety committee. We have our employees that are part of the safety committee and basically make sure that we're having the training programs and the standards are being followed to work safely each and every day. Our board of directors, we have 9 of them. We're a member-owned utility. In other words, our members are our customers. When you hear me say member, that's just in the for-profit world and the real world, another way of saying customer. But they actually are a member, and you'll hear more about that, why that's the case from a financial benefit. But our members elect our leadership, our board members. And again, there are 9 districts and 9 directors. Here's a picture of our board members, and they're from all across our service territory, from as far west as the Yellow River, that we go that far, and then over to the Georgia Alabama line. They really do a good job, and they really are in it for the right reasons. We appreciate their efforts. My senior staff, Steve Saul, you know what a great guy this man is. Handles our marketing, public relations, our foundation, Operation Roundup Foundation, oversees member services, all the bill requests or complaints or questions he and his department handle. Does a super job. Next to him is Misty Dixon, our CFO, handles our financial matters. Bethany Rutherford is our VP of HR, compliance, a lot of compliance regulation in our world. And then Jason Thrash is our VP of engineering operations and also handles our IT department. This slide right here is really the crutch of what I want to talk to you about, and that is what we do every day, try to balance affordability and reliability. Affordability and reliability, because oftentimes what's affordable is not going to make you reliable, and then reliability certainly isn't free, certainly not cheap. So it's that balance we're trying to always look at. We want to keep the lights on, we want it affordable, and that's what we look at. Now we have some help across the map of electric cooperatives across the country, all those colored shaded areas. Those that aren't in a colored shaded area or some other electric structure like an investor-owned utility like the Southern Company in Ohio, or a municipal system like our city of Dothan. But you'll see here the electric cooperative network, and all of us operate basically the same structure, organizational structure as a not-for-profit, member-driven, member-owned electric cooperative. But we're all autonomous. We're independently governed, as I shared with our trustees. So the landmass is about 70% of the United States is covered by a rural electric cooperative. You'll see. Why that's important, though, is we have a big, large network. Our little tagline you see there, we're big enough to serve. That's why we can say that. We have a lot of resources that we can draw upon. Hurricane Mike, we might call when that big storm hit. We literally had the nation as our support, is bringing in not just the extra linemen, but also from a financial standpoint, having folks that can come in and help answer phones, member services, those type of things. So it's really important that we can get really much larger than what just the local Wiregrass electric science is. And that's very important. We also here locally, we're part of our Alabama Rural Electric Cooperative Association in Alabama. They help us with a lot of things related to Alabama politics, if you will, to make sure Paul Lee, I see him back here, does a great job. Our representative here locally, thank you, Paul. You and the Wiregrass delegation are so supportive of affordable, reliable electric energy. Thank you for that. But you can see here kind of where all the cooperatives are in Alabama. There are 22 of them. And then Power South, our wholesale power supplier, we're part of them, and they just added 2 new members here on the where that's shaded yellow on the Alabama Mississippi border there. That's Black Warrior Electric Cooperative, and then up north of them, just north of the Tuscaloosa area, is a Tom Bigby Electric Cooperative. So that now has Power South providing wholesale power to 22 systems like Wiregrass Electric Cooperative, and they go down into the Florida region a little bit there, as you see. Again, back to that balancing act. We have a service territory here locally. Just to kind of put it in perspective, our service territory is that pink shaded area. You see how we go through the Wiregrass there. The green dot there is the municipal system, the city of Dothan. We're roughly about the same size in terms of customer total members, but you can see that the territory is not. So they do a great job. The city of Dothan, they really do. You know, when it comes to the service territory, we have a vast, more large area, and can go through a lot of rivers and streams and planted pine trees and a lot of things that can cause an outage, for sure. All right, so boiling it down, again, we're an at-cost provider. Our biggest cost, as you might expect, is the wholesale power. Wholesale power is what, in this country, has got a lot of pressures, if you will, a lot of rate pressures. Not all, but most of the increases that Wiregrass Electric has seen through the years have been wholesale power related or driven. And that's largely because of policy and regulation at the federal level that we have to live with, and we do. And so we'll comply with all those, even if we think some of them are bad policies and bad regulation. But you see our costs, these 3 buckets here. The distribution expense is Wiregrass Electric's piece. The distribution piece is what we need to float our boat, if you will. On the distribution side, you see the energy expense and the band expense. Those 2 buckets, 2 components of wholesale power. I'll talk more about the demand expense here in a moment and why that is so important. We're growing. The region, southeastern part of the United States is growing. That certainly affects us as we grow. There are other, you know, there's costs associated with that growth, as you would expect. But this region, you know, it's good to grow, and we want to grow. We want that positive growth, and that provides opportunities and jobs, and having a good positive growth for our community here. Some of the slides here I'll blow through pretty quickly here, just to reemphasize and talk about that growth. What else is growing? Not just us, but as part of the growth in the electric world, the demand, the capacity need across the country is driven now by a lot of things, but certainly electric vehicles, which has taken a little bit of a backseat here recently, but the other is data centers, which certainly has not. The country is basically out of capacity, really. I mean, when you look at it, when I say capacity, I'm talking about peak capacity. There's a real need out there. There's not an abundance of capacity like there might have been in the past. Data centers, Wiregrass Electric, our all-time peak occurred about, 3 years ago now, December of 22, is that right? And we all-time, our peak then, and we've grown about 2.5%, 3% since then, but our all-time peak was 145 megawatts. What's a megawatt? Well, a megawatt is essentially the same load as a supercenter Walmart. To kind of put that in perspective, okay? So 145 megawatts was our all-time peak. A data center, there's one in Montgomery, Paul, as you know, just being built on about 650 acres, I think it is. And when they get finished, that data center is going to be about 1,200 megawatts. Power South, our wholesale power supplier that you just saw, provides wholesale power to 22 systems across Alabama and Northwest Florida. Their all-time peak occurred this past year, and it was just shy of 2,800 megawatts. So you can see one data center, the one in Montgomery, is essentially going to be about almost half of the load of Power South. Think about that. And then when you look at our total all-time peak of 145 megawatts, you can see how one data center is just, gonna need a lot of capacity. And where's that gonna come from? We have, again, through, federal regulation and policy in the past, have done some things that have, caused some of that, maybe cheaper, reliable energy source to not be as abundant. We're talking about coal now. And so, trying to overcome that. For example, Tennessee Valley Authority, TVA, you've heard of them. They serve in the North Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, some of the Carolinas, Kentucky. On capacity peak, they were about 8,000 megawatts short on capacity peak. What does that mean? It means when you have that capacity peak and you don't have the energy to supply or support that capacity peak, then the lights don't work. We don't like that. But just know that data centers are here. Data centers are not going away. We will find a way to serve. And again, we work with our legislatures on the state and federal level to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and making sure that there'll be plenty of reliable and affordable energy for everybody. Power plants are expensive. This is a power plant, Power South. About 3.5 years ago, Power South shut down their coal-fired power plant over in the Leroy area, over McIntosh, Alabama. They converted it from coal to natural gas. It's a combined cycle natural gas plant over there. It produces on peak about 720 megawatts. 3.5 years ago, that was about $450 million. So remember that. 720 megawatts, $450 million 3.5 years ago. Because of the capacity need, Power South is building another natural gas plant, a simple cycle this time, simple cycle, 450 megawatt plant. Okay, so we were 3.5 years ago, 720 megawatts, now 450 megawatts per plant. And the cost of that plant that will be online in 2030 is going to be $811 million. So it's about half the capacity and about double the cost in 3.5 years. And by the way, this plant, when they built, converted from coal to natural gas 3.5 years ago, the only turbine that was sold in the country that year was to Power South. The only one, Mitsubishi, GE, all of them, that's the only one they sold. And now, the one that just going to have online in 2030, you can't get them. The only way Power South was able to get it is because Denmark, that was going to build one, backed out, and they allowed Power South to come into the Denmark slot. Otherwise, I don't know, it'd be a different story for sure. But that's just to illustrate the capacity need and the demand and the cost that's associated with capacity and how that's so important. So what we're trying to do is we have folks all the time, Stevie and I, how can I help save money on my power bill? What can I do to keep my power costs as low as possible? Well, here's what you can do. Again, capacity, that's the most expensive part of anybody's business. Alabama Power, City of Dothan, Wiregrass, it doesn't matter. Everybody is building to and managing to a peak capacity, okay? So that's what we're trying to do. Our peak capacity, by the way, just show of hands, do you think we are a winter peaking cooperative here in hot South Alabama or a summer peaking cooperative here? Show of hands, winter peaking? Show of hands, summer peaking? Most of you are wrong. We are a winter peaking cooperative. We're a winter peaking system. That occurs on the coldest day of the year. And the reason for that is we are so heavy residentially based. Most of our members are residential members. James, we have some big homes that we serve. Some of them are like Dollar General size homes. A lot of these neighborhoods in West Dothan, they're big, big homes, but they're residential load, which means when it gets 18 degrees outside, guess what? Between 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, everybody's getting up, they're turning the heat on, because everybody's told, they're blow drying their hair, cooking eggs, whatever. I mean, everybody's doing it at one time, and there's no low diversity. So everybody has the peak use need, and then at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, they go to school or work, and the load just goes. And there's not a commercial or industrial base for Wiregrass at least, because we're heavy residential, to, balance that out. Meaning, capacity cost is another way of saying fixed cost. Demand, capacity, fixed cost. That's pretty much all the same. So if Kelly, you're trying to go to church and you're taking your 3 triplets with you, you and Daryl, and y'all go to church, and you'll need that minivan for the capacity on Sunday morning because you all want to ride together, When you go into Troy Bank and Trust to work Monday through Friday, you don't need that minivan. You just need that little moped that you drive around on. Well, you're still driving that minivan because you need that capacity for Sunday. So you're paying that capacity Monday through Friday, even though it's just you driving. Similar to the electric power plants. We're building these 700, 800, or 400, whatever, megawatt generating plants. Most of them are for peak capacity needs. There's some base load. We're pretty much good with base load, but you've got to have peakers there, and those are the expensive plants. Because guess what? When you build them, you're paying for them, whether you're selling anything, whether they're being productive or not. So that's the thought there. So if we can help educate people about demand and keep that demand at least, managed or low, then when we're on peak, every bit we can reduce that demand helps our cost, therefore your cost as that cost provider, but also power south. Because, the reason they're building power plants is because there's that demand. And in our case, that demand window is, again, that coldest day of the year between 6 and 9 a.m. So if you can, kind of help us there in that one window, that a little bit of time, then you can really save yourself some money. Because what we've done, we've had since we started this rate, we've had a 15% rate reduction in kilowatt hour charge. So we have a demand component, and that's going to hit you if you don't pay attention to that window in that one day. But if you do, then you can actually save 50% on your bill because everything else that you use the remainder of the year is going to be less. Meaning, we're still hot, so we sell a lot of energy in the June, July, August timeframe. We're not peaking then, but we're selling a lot of energy. Our bills are way higher in those months, than the winter months. So anyway, that's important. And demand costs are continuing to increase each and every year. And here's what I'm talking about here. We're putting the message out. Our members, our customers, watch this time frame, watch this window, and we're going to, have a demand component here. But if you can keep that managed, then you can save money. What we're trying to do with the demand component is educate our members in either A, change your behavior, okay, or B, sometimes you either can or don't want to change your behavior, that's fine. But try to recoup more of what you are causing the cost to be for your use. And that's what we're doing with this demand. And, as good as Stevie is communicating, a lot of people don't listen, but when you put it on the bill and you have a financial impact, then that's when you really get people's attention and begin to move the needle. And that's what we've done. Again, people are, we can't believe we still had 2 years back-to-back snow. It's just unbelievable. This slide's hard to read, but the 3 circles here just showing you during that snow event, 1 week prior, see that's what, 48 megawatts, if I read it right. And then we went to 143 megawatts. And then a week later, we're back down in the 50s. Look at the swing. We're building, Power South is building, we're building our system to that peak capacity because, when peak capacity is there, you don't want the lights not to work. So we're building that, there's a cost to it. And it's hard to manage when you're, have a peak a week ahead that's half of that, and a week later half of that. It just, cost being driven by the peak, it gets stuff to do. But it's working. Our demand rate's working. We used to be here on the far right-hand side in terms of wholesale power costs. And because of the demand structure that we're doing, people are listening and actually changing their behavior. We're now third from the highest. So, hey, that's progress. We want to keep going the other way, lower and lower, and that's what the goal is. The good thing is our rates, again, talking about being comparable, these are all the cooperatives, mask them out so you can really see who they are. But you can see Wiregrass, Alabama Power, and you can see in this comparison how we are there. You know, again, the highest wholesale power, one of the highest wholesale power. You'd think our retail would be reflected, but it's just the opposite. We're making up a lot of difference on that distribution expense, that distribution adder, what we control and manage. And then, of course, we're an at-cost provider. We do make a margin. A margin is another way of saying profit, but any profit or any margin, we have to make a margin because we're about half of our financial need, and so we have to meet certain ratios, and so we have that margin there. But that margin, when we do make it, is booked to you based on your usage, and it's returned back to you in what we call capital credits. We're on about a 20-year cycle, which is really good for electric cooperatives, meaning every 20 years, or not every 20 years, 20 years, then you get your money back. I'll take a time go through some of these. It's just show you that we're doing more with less. We're thin on our employees, but they're well trained and well motivated. We use technology a lot. We're trying to do all we can to keep our head count low and be as efficient as possible with borrowing money. We think better than most out there. Equity is great. Again, our expenses, we measure ourselves and look at other cooperatives across the country. Here's a picture of our billing team, financial team. They do a great job of balancing that act. Of course, weather, you know that we're so weather dependent, from just the temperature to storms. Our guys, our linemen, they do a great job. Paul, thank y'all for recognizing the lineman appreciation next week. We appreciate that. Our linemen do a great job. They work hard, long hours, all times of night. Our total engineering department, dispatch team, they do great. They can do a lot of things from this control center right here. They can have things that are out through technology, and that center, they can switch and take a 500 meter outage just with a couple of buttons switching here or there because of our technology, and get that 500 down to more where the broken pole is, down to 10, 15 volts. And a lot of times, our outage map, it's on our website. Anytime there's a storm, you can see what's happening in Wiregrass Electric. Go here, and it's real time. It's integrated through our technology. We don't even have to plug it in. If there's an outage that's booked in our OMS, it's going to show up on Stevie's website. You can see who's assigned to it, how long it's been out. Pretty cool stuff. We're doing some upgrades, trying to get afford it, but also make sure we have reliability there. This is west of it, taking some old wooden poles on the transmission side and taking them higher and making them concrete poles. So reliability is good. Again, Steve and his team, we do a lot in the community through Operation Roundup, scholarships. We have the Silent Hero partnership. Valerie, I saw Valerie earlier in here. WWY, thank you for that, what you guys do and partnering with us, recognizing these heroes out here. That's been very, very good. We have a golf tournament. If you're not participating, we'd love for you to. That's a great event. We have a lot of prizes, about 100 prizes we give out, and it's produced about a net of 55,000. That goes back to the community and helping charitable causes. Again, our board's very supportive. You see here on the right-hand side of that photo. Economic development, we're doing things constantly to try to grow this community. This is a picture of a spec building. This is Hartford, the Geneva County spec building. That's produced about 80 jobs here. Colton, I see you here. I appreciate what you and Matt do, man. Y'all are rock stars helping us in this area. We appreciate what y'all do, and y'all make a difference here. A lot of what you do see them doing, you see, but they're doing about 10 times more that you don't see behind the scenes. They're really, really good. And appreciate their efforts. And James, either I turned it off again. How here we go. Just some more things. Infrastructure. We partnered with Troy Cable Ceasefire for broadband. Here's one you see Senator Chastain here. This is looking at maybe widening Highway 167 down to the state line, and maybe we can do that. Florida says they'll meet us, and we'll have 167 4-lane, and that'll be good for cash register and evacuation. And anyway, we're doing surveys all the time and trying to be responsive. I'm sorry I talked so long, so I can get through. I'd be happy to answer questions if we have any time for that. If not, I'll be here for witnesses. Yes, sir.
Brad, has Power South looked into the small nuclear power plant?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me just tell you, the country has to win this AI race. Okay, we have to embrace data centers. We have to make sure we do all we can to win this AI race, this data race, this cyber race. We can't allow Russia or China or anyone else to beat us there. Small nuclear reactors, that's being heavily looked at. Like anything, it's not today, it's not overnight. We're for everything. We got to do something. Maybe Trump helps us there with accelerating some regulations and policies that will be easier to get those permitted. But it might be a solution, for sure. The last nuclear plant was built in this country. Power South partnered with Plant Vogtle that started in 2008. Supposed to be a cost of $8 billion. Supposed to be ready to go in 2016. It turned out being a cost of about $30 billion and didn't produce any kilowatt hours until 2022. It's just, it's hard to go from A to Z overnight. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank you for being a Rotarian and for all the work that you've done with your job too for the community and all. And also to mention that Brad's also a past president of the Tuesday Rotary Club. So thank you for your.
Well, you're welcome. I love being a Rotarian. The Tuesday Club, we just look over here as the standard. You guys, yes, sir, Paul.
As your lineman retire, do you have a source that you go to for filling those?
It's a great question. Being a lineman is a very good job. It's dangerous. We don't want it to be hazardous. That's why we have our training program. We partner with Wallace College, and we help there as a safe route to have the Wallace College lineman school. And when we hire folks, we post, of course, but we look at contractors that those that are working in the contracting field. Those that have been to schools like Wallace College, things like that. We have hired those right out of the farm, cotton field, peanut field, whatever, and train them and grow them up ourselves. And then we may have a need here, next year to go and get a 15-year journeyman lineman, just because it's harder now to just, in our case, because you get the older linemen and they stay there and stay there. And it's hard to know when they're going to retire, so you go out and hire a younger person, and they might stay another 8 years, or they might be able to retire more. So they kind of, it's hard for us to afford the luxury of having a whole bunch of employees. But when we need them, we go and look for experience where we can find local. If we can get somebody local, even if they've gone to Georgia or Mississippi or Florida with a contractor and they want to get back home, looking for roots, family roots, want to come back to the Wiregrass community. It's always a plus.
Brad, I'm a member.
Yes, sir.
And so about a year after I just want to brag on how great your automated system is. About a year after we moved in our house we had built, and a storm came through early that morning, and I guess threw a breaker outside or burned a fuse or whatever's at the pole, whatever. I didn't have power, didn't have internet, of course, but I got on with my phone, got on the internet off my phone, my mobile phone, logged into your system, logged in my report. Less than 2 hours later, I had response, and everything was done automated, let me know what's going on. Of course, I saw the truck come out there, and less than 2 hours, I had service back. And that was like 4:30 in the morning when it got back on. It happened about 3. So,
well, I appreciate you saying that, James. Look,
and it was all done through your system. Never had to call anybody. it all work?
Well, although we strive for it, we are not perfect, but when we're not, you let us know, Stevie, me, any of us, and we'll make it right. We'll try. Thank you for that compliment. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I'm at front. During a natural disaster where other entities come and help, I see it a lot on I-10 when I'm traveling. How do you make it right with those entities when it's all over? Who pays who and how does that work?
Yet another great question. So we have what we call a mutual aid agreement or contract. The statewide I showed you here, they help us do that, coordinate that with other states, other electric cooperatives in other states. So that's already known. That contract says what their price, each individual system, what their rate would be, regular time, time and a half, travel, lodging, whatever. And that's known, you know, full transparency, they're getting paid. Now, we do know their heart's right. A lot of them want to come and help us because that's just what they do. If you're alive and you want to get the lights on, wherever it is, there's a sense of pride about that to do it. But, you know, there's a big check too. They're working 16, 18 hours, usually at a time and a half. But it's a lot of work too, a lot of heavy, hard work. As y'all have experienced and saw with Hurricane Michael, that was 9 days for us being down, and we had let's see, 225 additional linemen in, and Peanut Festival. James, thank you. What you guys allowed us to do is they allowed us to use that as a staging area. We could park those out of town trucks there, and I don't know what we would have done without that, James. They're getting paid, and that's no upfront, and that mutual agreement is all tied up. And there's this little thing called FEMA reimbursement that we're qualified for as a cost provider, which is getting harder and harder and harder to, I would say get, but at least apply for and get, because the rules that keep moving the goalposts. So now everything that's FEMA reimbursable has to be pre-contract. You don't get paid, there's not even a chance to get reimbursed unless you have a prior contract in place. Yes, sir. Back in the back.
Hey, Brad, you were talking about linemen and replacement training. On average, how many linemen do you employ?
Yeah, well, we have a total of 56 employees. That's down about 10 years ago, about 10. Technology has allowed us to absorb, no one's been asked to leave or forced to leave, but as retirements happen, like any of you do, you reassess, look and say, hey, we're spending these dollars here, what can we do better? So we've been able to use technology to reduce that headcount. We have about 32 linemen at 56, what's actually out there working the lines. Our VP of E&O, he'd tell you we need more, but there's that balancing act of important.
I just think it's amazing that you cover vast territory with 22 people.
And we have some contracts in place with what we like to call partners, some called contractors, but we have some people that do contracting basis can help. And we like that because you can ramp up or down, and that gives full-time employment. I know I'm moving along. Thank y'all again. If we can ever help you, let us know.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm on it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Next week's program will be Camp Ask the Director, Matt Rickman, brought to us by Bob Rutter. Just make sure we keep on your calendar. 27th of this month, we will be meeting at Hudson Alpha for an offsite meeting. We'll have lunch and private tour at Hudson Alpha. You'll be receiving more information on Purple Pinky pickup. That'll be in distribution. That'll be for the end of the month. If you will, let's all stand. It's a four-way test. Training. Think, say, and do.
Will be beneficial for all.
Look forward to seeing everyone next week.
Sitting on ice. We'll see you all next week.